It's Wednesday, May 17th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including the arrest of a Trumbull teen for allegedly assaulting a young girl, a heroin overdose arrest in Norwalk, and much more. Frank Granito will have a look at your forecast, and later on a Nutmeg sports update, and Donald Eng will also join us to take a look back on this day in history. But first, Weston police, firefighters, and emergency medical service responded to a car fire just after midnight on Tuesday after a car crashed into a tree and caught fire on Old Reading Road. A neighbor heard the crash and assisted the driver from the car, according to Fire Chief John Pokormy. Pokormy said the neighbor's actions made all the difference in the world in saving the driver from that fire. The driver, whose name has not been released, was transported to Norwalk Hospital after that accident. And in other news, a 15-year-old Trumbull boy is facing numerous charges after police said he kidnapped and sexually assaulted an 8-year-old neighbor on 2 occasions. According to police, the mother of the victim told police that last Monday afternoon around 4:30, she called outside her front door for her daughter to come home. She then saw the girl from the home of a male teenager nearby. The girl told her mother that the male had grabbed her and pulled her into the house and then had touched her inappropriately. The mother reported the incident to police, and they got the assistance of a child sexual assault forensic interviewer who was able to learn the details of what allegedly happened. Investigators also learned of an earlier incident that had occurred where the victim was subjected to similar sexual contact with the teen just days earlier. Trumbull police obtained an arrest warrant charging the 15-year-old male with aggravated sexual assault of a minor, first-degree kidnapping, among several other charges. The teen was remanded to the custody of juvenile court where he was detained. On Tuesday, police were informed that the case had been transferred to the Adult Superior Court of the Fairfield Judicial District for arraignment. And you can get more on that story at TrumbleTimes.com. In other news, a woman from Norwalk faces charges after a woman she befriended died from a heroin overdose. 54-year-old Lori Ladone turned herself into police on Tuesday. Norwalk police said their investigation began back on February 7th when they received a call about an unresponsive woman at an apartment on Isaac Street. 20-year-old Caitlin Constantino was transported to Norwalk Hospital where she was later pronounced dead. Investigators learned that Ladone was the only person there on the night of Constantino's death. They also found that over the course of several weeks, Ladone had befriended, introduced, and supplied Constantino with heroin on several occasions. An autopsy on Constantino found that the cause of death was acute intoxication of heroin and fentanyl. And President Donald Trump is in New London today to deliver the commencement address at the Coast Guard Academy. There is a heavy police presence and security presence in the area, and it could lead to some closures along I-95 for a time. Now, U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy, both Democrats, are not attending. Governor Daniel Malloy is reportedly going to be in attendance for that visit. The Department of Energy and Environmental Protection said the visit means that Bluff Point State Park and the Coastal Reserve in Groton will be closed today until mid-afternoon. And Darien police charged 54-year-old Donald Cavett for breach of peace after a dispute with a taxi driver at the Darien train station on May 10th. The driver contacted police after Cavett allegedly broke his rear passenger window following a brief exchange of words. When officers responded to the scene at about 5:30, where they met with the driver and Cavett, who had bloody hands and appeared unsteady on his feet. According to police, he was belligerent and was constantly yelling profanity. Police said Cavett had asked the taxi driver if he was working. The driver told Cavett he could get in the back seat of the taxi, but the accused instead yelled an expletive and walked away. Cavett then walked back toward the taxi in an aggressive manner, at which point the taxi driver rolled the windows up to avoid a confrontation. The accused then broke the rear passenger window by pulling on it. A witness at the scene confirmed the taxi driver's story. Post 53 EMS responded to treat the lacerations to Cavett's hand, but he refused medical attention or a transport to the hospital. He allegedly told police he had broken the taxi's window because he was angry that the driver would not give him a ride. And Monday night's special Reading Board of Selectmen meeting scheduled to give residents an update on the town of Reading's foreclosure on the Gilbert and Bennett wire mill site included a 30-minute presentation by First Selectman Julia Pemberton and a question, answer, and suggestion session that ran for almost 2 hours. The biggest takeaway from the night was simple, and that's the foreclosure of the wire mill site, undertaken by the town in 2014, remains a complicated legal situation. Depending on the legal tactic ultimately decided upon by voters, Pemberton said, the proceedings could stretch on for years of appeals. But in the short term, another round of arbitration discussions between the town attorneys and attorneys for bodies who also have a financial stake in the foreclosure, as well as the U.S. Bank, is set for June. There's a lot more on that story at thereadingpilot.com. And in some happier news, on Tuesday, a Norwalk police officer rescued 3 abandoned kittens from a construction site on Reed Street. The adorable kittens were in harm's way of a large construction vehicle at the site. The kittens were turned over to Animal Rescue and are in good condition, and we're happy to hear it. Well, let's switch gears now. Throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And we are looking at mostly sunny skies and warmer temperatures this afternoon. An expected high of 83. Breezy again around Fairfield County with wind gusts between 20 to 25 miles per hour. There's a poor air quality warning out today, so if you've been suffering from allergies, it is not going to get any better down the stretch this week. Mostly clear skies overnight, though. Warmer out with a low of 68 degrees. Going to be very humid as we head into Thursday morning. Thursday looks like it's going to be the warmest day of the week. Temperatures way up into the high 80s. Mostly sunny skies again tomorrow. Still pretty breezy out. Wind gusts now reaching up near 30 miles per hour. Muggy and humid again tomorrow night. Temperatures falling into the high 60s before the FCAC playoffs get into full swing on Friday. Wind gusts are down Friday, but the temperatures will stay up in the mid 80s. Not as humid out on Friday, but still warmer as we're staring down periods of sun and clouds during the day. There is a chance for passing showers in parts of the county later in the day, but we should see clear skies overnight and temperatures starting to cool down as we head towards the weekend. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and there's more local news coming up after this.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Sign-ups are now open for one of our most popular programs, the New England 80 Elite Lacrosse Division I and Division III Showcases. With D1 and D3 coaches in attendance, players will receive a 60-minute webinar with Director of Recruiting Hans Hansen, a custom NE80 penny, custom shorts, and a video of all games. Last year's event sold out quickly, so sign up now for the next showcase coming in January 2018. Like and follow us on Facebook.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
On time, done right, safe and reliable. Mr. HandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCD.com.
Pizza to satisfy even the most demanding critics. Tuesday Pazza Pizza.
Welcome back to this May 17th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Lang to take a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, a massive weapon of war brings new life to a region. First, we go to 1792. The New York Stock Exchange formed under what was called the Buttonwood Agreement. 24 brokers set a floor commission on the rate charged to clients and bound the signers to give preference to other signers in the sale of securities. The earliest trades on the floor were mostly government securities like war bonds from the Revolutionary War and the First Bank of the United States. Today, the New York Stock Exchange is by far the largest securities exchange with daily trading of about $170 billion. 1869, the Japanese government defeats the remnants of the Tokugawa shogunate in the Battle of Hakodate. That ends the Boshin War. The movie Last Samurai, by the way, was a dramatization of this battle. Interestingly, the battle was fought with modern weapons like Gatling guns and ironclad steamships, but it was not until about 50 years later that Japanese art began depicting the samurai fighting with swords in an attempt to romanticize the feudal warlords. And I do stress there that the shogun were feudal warlords. Pains me to say it, Ken Watanabe actually played a bad guy in that movie. 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court hands down a unanimous verdict in Brown versus Board of Education. Topeka, Kansas ruled that racially segregated schools were inherently unequal and therefore violated the 14th Amendment. Now, the court ordered states to desegregate their schools, but did not specify exactly how. So here in Connecticut, large numbers of charter and magnet schools that have been opening in the last 20 years are a direct effort to continue reducing racial segregation in public schooling. Finally, now we go to 2006, about 100 miles out into the Gulf of Mexico. Wait a minute, there we go. The carrier USS Oriskany intentionally sunk to create an artificial reef to facilitate marine habitat. The carrier is now resting upright, and the island is accessible to recreational divers, but the flight deck, about 60 feet lower, is extremely dangerous to dive on. The carrier is colloquially known as the Great Carrier Reef. That is your look back in history for today, May 17th, and I'm Donald Lang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, Connecticut has filed a lawsuit in the United States District of Connecticut against the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for failure to take timely action on a petition from Connecticut's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection asking the EPA to take action to stop pollution from a Pennsylvania coal-fired power plant from blowing our way. Now, the filing was made yesterday with the U.S. District Court by the Office of the Connecticut Attorney General. In the action, the Attorney General claims that the EPA has failed to act on a Clean Air Act Section 126 petition filed by Connecticut back on June 1st, 2016. The petition asked EPA to require the Brunner Island Steam Electric Station in York County, Pennsylvania, to reduce air pollution generated from its 3 coal-fired electric generating units because they contribute to bad air quality and public health issues in Connecticut. But there's a lot more on that story on any of our HAN Network news sites. Let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And yesterday, the HAN Network was live at the Country Club of New Canaan for boys golf. New Canaan and Darien renewing their rivalry, this time on the course. It was the Blue Wave who got the best of the Rams, though, as New Canaan just quite didn't have it yesterday. Darien wins 165 to 179. Luckily for the Rams, though, the ladies brought their A game. They took down Wilton 169 to 220. Staples 188 to 200, a winner over Trumbull on the girls' side as well. And the Darien girls squeaking one out 200 to 201 against Fairfield Ward. The Darien New Canaan boys match will be aired tomorrow afternoon in place of Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock before we have the girls lacrosse quarterfinals on the air. We'll be at Greenwich's Cardinal Stadium for number 3 Greenwich and number 6 Ridgefield. And tonight, for fans attending the regular season lacrosse finale between Ridgefield and New Canaan at Tiger Hollow, they'll also get to help out a former Tiger player. The contest starts at 7 and is a fundraiser for Harrison Malden, a 2013 Ridgefield graduate who played for the boys lacrosse team. Malden was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, a rare form of leukemia, in early March and is currently undergoing 10 months of chemotherapy, which will be followed by several years of monitoring. In a show of support for the former Ridgefield High boys lax player, players have been wearing Malden's initials on the chin straps of their college helmets this spring. And before its final game of the season, the men's lacrosse team at Bard College, where Malden played for 2 years, warmed up in custom-designed T-shirts and were also sold to raise funds. For more on this story and tonight's fundraising event, you can go to ridgefieldpress.com. Don't forget this afternoon that the HA Network will be live at Danbury High. The Hatters hosting the Trumbull Eagles in baseball. It's essentially a play-in game now for the 8th and final spot in the FCIAC postseason tournament, and our playoff coverage gets underway tomorrow as we are in full swing for the next 8 days, bringing you all the action of the FCIAC playoffs. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, in other local news, Eli's Patio in Milford is finally open after some hard work and controversy. After more than a year of asking city officials for permission to lease a portion of city property next to the eatery at 21 Daniel Street, Eli's got approval last November from the Board of Aldermen. And last week, people were sitting at those outside tables enjoying the mild temperatures. The lease Eli signed with the city allowed for the creation of a 10-foot by 51-foot concrete patio. It is non-smoking and live music is not permitted there. Eli's will also pay $2,500 a year for that lease, and there's a lot more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And the Ridgefield Press reported on a rise in coyotes in the area 3 weeks ago, but it looks like there are quite a few foxes around town too. HAN's Brian Hafely captured photos of a fox family Tuesday afternoon at the Governor Street parking lot. Very cute. All right, well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today on your coffee break after this.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Did you know heart attacks and strokes are the leading cause of death in America? Protect the health of you and your loved ones. Talk to a doctor about heart disease. Hi, I'm Dr. David Pazer with ProHealth Physicians, encouraging you to stay informed about health matters that affect you.
ProHealth Physicians is on the pulse of social media to share information about health and nutrition with the community. Get up-to-the-minute alerts, including ProHealth Physicians' news and upcoming events. Connecticut's leading group of primary care doctors is just a click away.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office.
Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month. Isn't it time you got Millerized?
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Weston police, firefighters, and emergency medical service responded to a car fire just after midnight on Tuesday after a car crashed into a tree and caught fire on Old Reading Road. Now, a neighbor heard the crash and assisted the driver from the car, according to Fire Chief John Pokorny. Pokorny said the neighbor's actions made all the difference in the world in saving the driver from that fire. The driver, whose name has not been released, was transported to Norwalk Hospital after the accident. You can get more on that story at thewestonforum.com. And a 15-year-old Trumbull boy is facing numerous charges after police said he kidnapped and sexually assaulted an 8-year-old neighbor on 2 occasions. According to police, the mother of the victim told police that last Monday afternoon around 4:30, she called outside her front door for her daughter to come inside. She then saw the girl come from the home of a male teenager nearby. The girl told her mother that the male had grabbed her and pulled her into the house and then had touched her inappropriately. The mother reported the incident, and police got the assistance of a child sexual assault forensic interviewer who was able to learn the details of what allegedly happened. Investigators also learned of an earlier incident that had occurred where the victim was subjected to similar sexual contact with that teen just days earlier. Trumbull police obtained an arrest warrant charging the 15-year-old male with aggravated sexual assault of a minor, first-degree kidnapping, among other charges. The teen was remanded to the custody of the juvenile court where he was detained. On Tuesday, police were informed that the case had been transferred to the Adult Superior Court of Fairfield for arraignment. The detectives are continuing the investigation with additional interviews and evidence collection. And in other news, a woman from Norwalk faces charges after a woman she befriended died from a heroin overdose. 54-year-old Lori Ladon turned herself into police on Tuesday. Norwalk police said their investigation began back on February 7th when they received a call about an unresponsive woman at an apartment on Isaac Street. 22-year-old Caitlin Constantino was transported to Norwalk Hospital where she was pronounced dead. Investigators learned that Ladon was the only person there on the night of Constantino's death. They also found that over the course of several weeks, Ladon had befriended, introduced, and supplied Constantino with heroin on several occasions. An autopsy on Constantino found that the cause of death was acute intoxication of heroin and fentanyl. And President Donald Trump is in New London today to deliver the commencement address at the Coast Guard Academy. There's obviously a heavy police and security presence in the area, and it could lead to some closures along I-95 for a time. Now, U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy, both Democrats, are not attending. Governor Dannel Malloy is reportedly going to be in attendance for that visit. The Department of Energy and Environmental Protection said that the visit also means Bluff Point State Park and the Coastal Reserve in Groton will be closed until mid-afternoon today. Well, let's throw it back over to Frank Granito for one final look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And again, mostly sunny and warmer out this afternoon. An expected high of 83. Breezy around Fairfield County. Wind gusts between 20 to 25 miles per hour. Mostly clear again overnight, a low of 68, and it's going to be very humid heading into Thursday morning. Thursday looks like it'll be the warmest day of the week. Temperatures are way up in the high 80s. Mostly sunny again tomorrow. Still pretty breezy out. Gusts might reach 30 miles per hour on Thursday. Muggy and humid again tomorrow night. Temperatures falling into the high 60s. And then we head towards Friday as playoffs get underway in the FCAC. Wind gusts are down Friday, but temperatures are still up in the mid 80s. Not as humid out. We're looking at periods of on and off sun and clouds. During the day, there's a chance for passing showers in the afternoon, but it's going to clear up overnight, start to cool down as we head for the weekend. That's going to do it for the weather. Let's go back to Kate.
Thanks so much, Frank. Well, we're going to start wrapping things up here on your coffee break, but coming up at 12:30, CT Pulse, I'm joined by 2 parents who've lost children to suicide, and we talk about raising awareness and sharing a message of hope. Now, of course, 4 o'clock baseball live on the HAN network. Frank, are we doing a Nutmeg Sports today?
There will not be a Nutmeg Sports this afternoon. We've got to get down to Danbury, get all set up. We've got the Eagles of Trumbull and the Hatters of Danbury coming up at 4.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And we will see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11. Have a great day.